September's monthly solar stats and home usage update. Feel free to pause the video to have a look at our solar setup at home. To start off with, I'd like to talk about the fact that our infrared heating system is now active towards the end of September. I am doing a separate set of videos on my infrared heating system and the costs to run it throughout this 2022-23 heating season. So please take a look at my alternative heating episodes within the channel. During September, we've started to use the system very, very differently, mainly due to the fact that solar's a lot lower. There's a lot more loads in the house because the heating has started to come on, and also because the solar is lower, we've gone from trying to stay off grid to actually trying to stay away from peak power, the cost of energy, peak power rates. We are on a March Octopus Intelligent Tariff, and this means we have a cost of 7.5 pence per kilowatt off peak and a peak rate of 32.49 pence per kilowatt, and that 32.49 pence per kilowatt is what we're trying to avoid. The good thing about the Octopus Intelligent Tariff is you can get extra off-peak slots, as seen in this picture here. And there's a few caveats to this, but you'd have to have a look at the Octopus Intelligent Tariff to figure out how you get the extra off-peak slots. Moving on to the data for September, we had a home usage of 990.9 kilowatt hours. And you can see from the yellow in the bar graph that we're getting less and less solar now. We generated 707.6 kilowatt hours, which was down from over a megawatt last month. And we've had a 23.6 kilowatt hour of generation average throughout September. From the Powerwall, we've got 308.7 kilowatt hours out of it. And we've had a net grid use of 325.3 kilowatt hours. But we had a total grid pull of 427.5 kilowatt hours. We were self-powered for 74% of September, and we produced 71% of our home usage. Off-peak, we used 261.9 kilowatt hours, and 86% of that was from the grid. And the 730.7 kilowatt hours from peak time mostly came from solar and the Powerwall, but a small amount of it did come from the grid. And this is due to a Octopus campaign where we were asked to use some power in a beta trial. Moving on to what we did with some of the excess solar, we managed to put 103 kilowatt hours of excess solar into the cars. And we also put 136 kilowatt hours into our hot water system. I was a bit late taking this picture, and that's why I've had to work it out from last month's picture. The 707.6 kilowatt hours we got from our inverters, the breakdown of that was 308.8 kilowatt hours from our original 3 kilowatt inverter. We got 300.7 kilowatt hours from our second 3 kilowatt inverter, and we got 98.1 kilowatt hours for our solar array that's lower down from our 1.2 kilowatt inverter. We travelled 814 miles in the Egolf and the MG in September, and we put 236.9 kilowatt hours total in the cars, and 103 kilowatt hours of that came directly from free sun through the solar PV. Our average cost for the month for what we pulled from the grid was 9.2 pence per kilowatt hour, and when you include what we generated from solar, that brought our average cost for the month of September to 3.5 pence per kilowatt hour. And we now have a total average per kilowatt hour of 3.4 throughout 2022. Moving on to where all the energy went, the 1,092 kilowatt hours including the grid export we used in September. 23% of it went into car charging, or 236.9 kilowatt hours, an actual cost of £10.04. As mentioned earlier on, we're now using the heating, so we used altogether 11.3 kilowatt hours from the infrared heating system at a cost of 40p so far. 6% of our energy went into cooking, or 58.7 kilowatt hours at a cost of £2.05. Washing and drying of clothes was 7% at 63.9 kilowatt hours, or £2.23. The fridge freezer used 37.1 kilowatt hours, or 4%, at a cost of £1.29. The general home usage, so everything that we haven't monitored, was 302.1 kilowatt hours, or 29% of our usage, at a cost of £10.57. Hot water, 21%, or 228 kilowatt hours, at an actual cost of 73p. So 12% of that came from solar and 9% came from the grid, or what I should say was 98 kilowatt hours came from the grid and 130 came from solar. And finally, moving on to our grid export, we exported 102.2 kilowatt hours, or 10%. That is quite a lot for us. Normally we try and keep that down to a minimum. And finally, to summarise, up until the end of September of 2022, we've been grid free for 130 days. We've done 6,736 miles in the cars at a cost of £46.08. We've imported 5,810 kilowatt hours. We've got 7,865 kilowatt hours from solar. So that's a total electricity home usage of 13,675 kilowatt hours at a cost of £555.24. Before we got rid of the gas, we had a cost of £21.96, which gives us a total utility bill of £577.20 since the start of 2022. We've had 3 fit payments totaling £1,968.81, and that gives us a balance of minus £1,391.61, and that's including any VAT or direct or daily charges. I'll leave you with the solar day-by-day data from the Tesla Powerwall, but as usual, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, please add it to the section below.